I want it deep inside. Free your mind, and I'll take you for a ride and make you wanna call my name. I am the reason that you feel like you're alive. Call for me, I'll keep you breathing. You'll be my heartbeat parasite. It's alright, let your notice side come out and touch me. Scream all night, that's what I like. You'll be my heartbeat parasite. Oh, my heartbeat parasite. My heartbeat parasite.
Hey yo, welcome in Vigo's Court. I am your judge, Judge Vader, and I am joined by Counselor Q. And I'm trying to get Counselor Q's video to load.
What it do? What it do? It's fine. Everybody knows the voice at least, right? We in here like swimwear, baby. We got a good matchup tonight. I'm excited for it. We're starting a little late. We apologize. It's Vader's fault, though.
100% it's my fault. Everybody should blame me right now, all right? 100% right now, blame me, okay?
Yeah, let's get that out of the way now so we don't have to worry about it later. All right. Everyone hashtag blame Vader in chat. Just get it out of your system. All right. But I'm excited. We've got some a good pair of teams here, a good matchup. We're going to my old home. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. Honestly, we got Daddy Issues and Corrupt here. Corrupt, a fairly new team to Vigos. We haven't seen them. We didn't get to see them in the qualifiers, but we did get to see Daddy Issues in the qualifiers. Just a little bit. So this will be really exciting because really we haven't seen either of these teams too much, you know?
Yeah, we haven't seen either of these two teams too much. If you are familiar with competitive DBD, you will notice some names as far as throughout the trials that will probably look for a little bit familiar. So it's not like they're like it's new people to comp, right? It's kind of a couple new like teams getting lined up together, maybe getting working out some kinks as far as like chemistry and things like that. Which especially going on to a map that is kind of typically not seen in the competitive scene. I think it's going to be kind of a nice little way for them to kind of really stress their communication, I think, tonight.
Yeah, I would have to agree. And let's go ahead and review what map we are going to be on here really quickly. And so, guys, our map that we'll be on is Disturbed Ward. And so it'll be at Crotus Pren Asylum. We have an area of 11,008 square meters, 7 hooks minimum, 12 hooks maximum. So pretty balanced map overall. Really good map for our survivors and our killer to be playing on. So with it being the home map of Daddy Issues, right? This is Daddy Issues home map. So they knew about it. They were practicing this. They wanted this map. They picked this map. So I'm excited to see how they perform here.
Yeah, I think one thing that's going to be interesting too is, obviously with the preseason, we're going to have more options as far as killers. Whereas when we get into the season and your killer pool is, obviously as you get deeper into the season, a little bit more selective. I do imagine once we get into the regular season, I imagine that Crotus Pen here is going to be similar to like what we saw with Batum last night, where we are going to not see a lot of like your typical like meta killers. I don't think you're gonna see a lot of teams bringing out like say the Nurse, the Blight, the Spirit on this map, just because I feel like you would want to use them on a map where they can flex a little bit more. And I don't think that Crotus Pen's that, but I do think Crotus Pen offers some options for some other killers. Wouldn't be too bad of a demo map. I've seen some demos working, especially where if you can put a portal up in like the top mid, and then you can kind of oversee the map and your hooks and everything like that once you kind of get away from putting whoever it is up on the hook, right? Also, with it having the middle building and it being a bigger area, that could be a very stressful loop to like work as a killer. So maybe bringing something like a clown who can kind of shut down chases quicker, especially around a bigger tile like that middle building, right? Maybe wouldn't be surprised to see maybe something like a clown come out too. But what would be some thoughts that you would be like expecting to see as far as if you're on the survivor side? What are some killers that you'd be kind of expecting to be going against on Crota's Pen?
I would say because this is preseason, of course, right? So that they can use whoever they want, and it's not counting against the season pool.
Very
So
fair. That's a good point.
I think that you come out pistols firing, you show whoever your most confident killer is, and I expect to see the S tiers. I don't know that we'll see a spirit per se, but I think a nurse, a blight, definitely not out of the question. But we'll definitely see who we have here. And then, is Daddy Issues killing first, or are they surviving first?
I do believe we should be having.
I think Corrupt is killing first, right?
Yeah, Corrupt should be killing first. Daddy Issues should be playing Survivor first.
Okay,
Yes.
I haven't gotten an invite from the killer to their lobby yet, so I'm waiting on that right now. Maybe I might.
I would imagine that's probably got to be Vercon, right?
I would think so, but I don't know. You know, I know who would know. Let's go ahead and join Keeper from Corrupt, and they can probably point me in the right direction.
All right, let's do that. Let's pop on over there. I think you brought up a good point though, as far as like today, right, with preseason. Maybe wouldn't be surprised. I think if any of the metas, I feel like Nurse would probably be the one most comfortable. Just because I feel like working around more like the middle building in the area can be kind of a pain in the butt with the Blighty boy. We did see some Nemesis come out yesterday, so maybe we see something new. Maybe a Nemesis. I'm still dying to see Cenobite really get a chance as far as in the competitive scene, but we saw like some really good off-meta killers yesterday with some really good performances too. We saw good Oni. We saw the Nemesis. I think we did see one meta killer, possibly. Now I'm trying to remember. It's been a long 24 hours.
Nice.
But
yeah, I think you're onto something there, though. Honestly, like the way that the S tier killers I was saying, I think that you could see those brought. On the same side of the coin, maybe you bring an off meta killer because it doesn't count. You want to go ahead and get that practice in.
Yeah, I think that's probably the bigger thing, right? Because I would imagine most of our teams are probably, if not adept, they at least understand where they fall on their Nurse, their Blight, their Spirit, probably even their Twins, whether their Twins is strong or not. But we kind of have seen Twins kind of moving farther and farther up the list as more people have gotten a handle of them. But yeah, I just think as far as with the Asylum, I think one thing that's going to be interesting is seeing some of the defensive strategies from our killer, right? Because there is some RNG in the fact that sometimes you can get like the two generators in the middle house, right? You can get the one on like the greenhouse area and then the one upstairs. And sometimes you can get like two gens back in the carnival and then also have a third one back in that corner too. So you have a little bit of RNG as far as that, but for the most part, a map that's gives you, I don't know if balance is the word I want to go for, but at least maybe consistency might be the best way to go, best like word to approach it with.
Yeah, and yeah, I'd have to agree there. There is a fair amount of map RNG that can either like make or break survivors on some maps, right? And as I know I have experience with Vercon, and I know you have experience with Vercon as well. A very capable killer. So for sure, if there are a lot of dead zones, especially like you talked about that little greenhouse over there, I feel like RNG tends to make that kind of a bad zone for survivors. You get the one pallet there, but as soon as that's gone, it's like stay away from here. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think it will be interesting to see how these survivors handle whatever the map throws at them, especially this first match.
Yeah, I do like here, maybe we still might be seeing from not only just our survivor, but maybe even from our killer here. Maybe even seeing them trying some not like off the wall strategy, but not also like not your normal either. Like maybe trying to find an extra sort of thing to kind of keep in your back pocket. You know what I mean? Because it is preseason. You talked about it earlier. Like not only do your killer selections not count, but like if there is a day that you were to want to like try something new to see how like it works with your team chemistry, like today's the day that you can kind of fall flat on your face, right?
Indeed. So if you wanted to bring a Michael Myers or somebody who they determine really isn't super comp viable, but you want to go ahead and bring him and go, well, maybe we can do okay. Let's go ahead and test. Right. And if you don't, you don't. It's not the end of the world. If you do well, though, then it's like, hey, watch out for our guy. We know how to use this killer.
Right. And I mean, we even saw that yesterday with, again, we saw kind of a lot of off meta picks that kind of came across. And, again, we saw the 4K with the Nemesis. We saw a 4K on Batum with an Oni, which was kind of crazy. You usually would think on Batum with an Oni, where normally Oni kind of struggles in the early game. And Batum's kind of a very early game survivor sided map, but again, we've already kind of seen some teams show up in preseason so far and be able to say, hey, don't just wait to, you don't only have to worry about our Spirit, Nurse, and Blight. Like we've also got some other killers in the bag. And I think that's a good message to send in preseason, right? You kind of want to have people worried a little bit when they see you coming across in the schedule.
I would agree. Let's go ahead and review some killer rules real quick. See how Vercon's going to have to score here and put pressure on these survivors. So we can go ahead and see here that our killer can score via the hooks, and progressions are 1 point less than the hooks. First and second hook being 2 points, third, fourth hook being 3 points each. 4K is 2 points, and an entity kill is the corresponding hook plus the progressions, which is super nice for our killers there. Definitely, if any survivors do bleed out, it is equal to 0 points. So Vercon does have 30 points available to score here for Corrupt. All right, guys, and we're almost ready to load into the match. But honestly, we've seen this point system kind of work out in the favor of the league, making exciting matches. We've seen ties and everything, so definitely pay attention to how these rules work, because it makes for really exciting gameplay.
Yeah, I think oh man, what do you think comes out here? Because I know you like to be the guy who like predicts things. What's coming out here? I need to know.
Yeah, it's tough to say, but I think maybe we do see a Blight from Vercon here. I'm gonna make a call and say Blight, but we'll see here. And we will go ahead and load right in.
I didn't want to say because I actually happened to peek in on them when they were practicing the other day, so I didn't want to give it away, but I was excited for this one here.
Oh my lord, it's a doctor.
Yeah, we've got the doctor popping out, which is kind of nice. You can, of course, obviously with the static blast, right? You get yourself a little bit of information early. as far as who's around you. Also, you can kind of start building up a little bit of that madness there. Goodness gracious, great balls of what was that, 20 seconds of ruin value, and that was it. That's a pretty tough start to be looking at here, especially we do see going into a chase though around the corrupt portion of the map. It does look like though Verkon's going to opt to instead break from the chase there and go and start putting pressure on some of the gens. I think a smart move here, especially with losing your ruin so early.
I would have to agree. Definitely. And a swing and a miss, unfortunately. Thought actually that Verkon was going to have that falling. But yeah, you do kind of have to try to pressure something else, drive madness onto the other survivors as well. We can see that Fallen Angel is actually already at tier 2 madness, Pilot Snow at tier 1 madness, so you gotta put pressure on the other survivors if you can.
Yeah, and at least it's like a nice little added little build in, like some little bit of slowdown, right? With the madness, especially once you get people into tier 3, they got to stop whatever it is that they're doing because they're broken down crazy. You got to stop and at least make it so you don't have the noises going on. We see a basement pool here though, and that's going to be a back hook, and that's going to be a back hook over here on the portion of the map that's kind of I don't want to say like in the middle of their corrupt, because as you can see, obviously, like it's kind of in the back corner, but should be able to control these couple gens here that are that were uncovered. But corrupt intervention did just get off of use there, so now the remaining 6 gens are in.
Oh yeah, and definitely our killer is performing quite well here actually so far. Getting that basement hook early is really important, and that's probably something to talk about here within the rules of Vigos. It's always going to spawn in that shack, which is pretty important.
Yeah, I think especially so on some of them, like especially say on a map like Crota's Pen, right? Like this isn't, let's say Suffocation Pit where you have a shack on one side of your map and then like a main building on the opposite side of your map. So like basement's kind of on one side or the other. Like if you had basement in the main building on this map, it'd be really tough, right? Because then you're talking about like a shack right in the middle. It's not, you don't get that benefit of being Wrecker's Yard. You didn't get to draft that pick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. And so yeah, that basement being right there, having this we have a couple gens near here too, so these survivors definitely need to either try to pressure those other gens out or commit to trying to get their friend off the hook. But right now, running around right here is playing right into what Verkon wants to see.
Yeah, and especially too, because if he does see the unhook coming across, he can jet right back across to the shack. He did see the heal coming in on the Fang there as well. So that means either Fang retreated back across the map to wherever the Nia was in order to get the reset, or you could potentially have, the two of them maybe even moving in for a safe here. So we're going to see Verkon moving back in across the way here, going to try and use the body block. We're probably also going to see a little bit of a static blast usage here. And instead here, we're going to see an elimination very early. We do see a second generator getting done across the way, which is going to be a nice little, I guess you could say, like moral victory as far as for the survivor side, but that's tough. You're talking about losing your first survivor in the trial without even being able to get the unhook.
Yeah, indeed. It's that is definitely pretty tough for these survivors. But that's only one hook for Verkon here. So as far as it goes for the survivors, that's one hook and 2 progressions. They still can score quite well if they keep anybody else from going on hook. It'll be a tough task, but these survivors definitely aren't out of it by any means. They just need to stay on these gens, stay calm, stay composed, and pressure this stuff out.
Yeah, the one thing that I will say though that can sometimes be tough once you get into a 3v1 situation is it's kind of easy to fall into that snowball, right? Like especially here, we've got a player that's about to be going up on a hook. It's kind of easy to start seeing a snowball that if they're not able to execute a safe unhook, maybe you get a slug right next to the hook and then you only have one player left in the trial. And then now instead of having all of these extra hooks, now Verkon's got all these extra progressions, which are gonna have at least gonna be able to help balance things out as far as the points thing on the back end, right?
Indeed, and you also don't know, like, the person who died, we don't know what perks they had, so we don't know, like, how that's affecting the team's game plan coming into this match, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. And you know, we do see the one hit coming in there, and now with that static blast, it's gonna let our killer here, Verkon, know that there's only one survivor around. So now Verkon can actually engage in the chase here around the middle building, because the middle building is a little bit of a tougher loop because it's a very it's rather big. I know that's what she said, but we do see the down coming in there, and now we're kind of in that position, right? You've got someone still on a hook, you have one person down, now you have your third player is kind of stuck in this position of, well, do I stick this third gen so I at least get the 2 extra points, which we see cut getting done now across the way, which means now Verkon has some time to pick up this Nia here and be able to guard both hooks. This is actually pretty big for Verkon here.
Indeed, and with the hatch changes as well, hatch does not spawn until one survivor is left. So unlike before where the survivor could go stand on top of hatch and just wait, that's not entirely the case.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to see that there. That's a good point, actually.
And we're seeing, oh, what a wait out. Look, counting out our borrowed time. Perfect. Oh, getting unlucky and hitting the borrowed time instead of hitting the Fang like I think Verkon was trying to. But honestly, you're probably okay with that.
Yeah, especially because you do see that the Nia did stay in the area, right? So you ate the borrowed time hit. Now we do see here that we have 2 slugs onto the ground. And now you're going to be able to use your static blast there. It does not sound like you have anybody in the area. It does look like here at this point, Verkon's going to opt to wait out the DS timer. Probably a very smart move. Oh, slapped him with the D. Didn't realize we also had to worry about it on the Nia there. And that's going to be huge because we also see the other player getting picked up. Not sure if that was an unbreakable player or if we had a survivor moving in. But we now have 3 survivors all in play. And instead of where we had 2 people slugged, we got 0 hooks out of it so far.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw the Fang was in the area while we have these 2 survivors over here. Unfortunately, just kind of chilling next to this pallet while trying to get rid of their madness. So we will go ahead and see another hook here, but I think we saw a boon totem get snuffed out before, and I'm not sure boon totems are allowed in Vigos yet, so we may see a penalty.
Yeah, I thought that was part of the reason why we were allowing certain maps in there. We'll have to double check here in between trials just to make sure that is the case. We did see though Verkon was able to still able to snuff out that particular totem, so you know, kind of working out in his favor here. Not sure which survivor it was that had the boon totem. We haven't heard another one getting ignited, so we don't have to worry about it in the trial at this point, at least here. But it does look like Verkon has located our injured Nia over here at Shaq. And of course, Shaq being a tile that ends up being a little bit less strong against the Doctor, with the Doctor's ability to use the shock, right? And to be able to basically just prevent you from either taking the window or the pallet there.
Yeah, indeed. And we do see Doctor going ahead and saying, you know what? I'm going to slug one and look for this Fang that has eluded me pretty much all trial. And he does find the Fang. So unfortunate for Fang, but going to go ahead and go into chase here. And hopefully she can get to that other survivor and pick him up. Otherwise, that might be GG's. And Verkon will go ahead and take the 4K.
Yeah, and definitely a smart slug here, right? Because it does look like you would have been putting up a survivor that I believe would have been on second hook, would have only had a 60-second timer, and of course would have been able to basically just miss 2 skill checks to be able to sacrifice themselves and make a hatch play, then come into play. Especially with Fang here not having been hooked yet, that could have been a potential big point swing. So we do see Vercon now taking Fang here again. I believe this should be hook number 1 onto the Fang here. So that is going to be the fresh hook there. You're going to get the 2 extra progressions by her being in the basement there. I'm not sure if Vercon quite got to the 7 and 8 progression stages where you get the extra bonus point there. We'll have to double check as far as in the scoring in the background. But we do see here, chat, with the securing of Nia there. I'm not sure what resolution y'all are watching this in, but that does indeed look like a 4K to me.
I would have to agree. That definitely does look like a 4K. And so definitely a really good play by Vercon there to go ahead, get the 4K, and kind of like you said, maybe getting that 7th and 8th progression, because really Vercon was not worried about letting people progress. Vercon was out for blood, looking to kill. Also, I do have information for the chat. We are not going to penalize the survivors there because my mistake. I was talking about things to come. The boon totems are not yet not allowed because it didn't make it into the rules yet. So the boon totem was allowed indeed.
So that's going to be the good news, especially because you did, you were only able to get, I think it was 3 gens completed there. So it's good to be, it's definitely good to know here for survivors that they were able to, at least keep the points that they earned during that trial. But one thing I kind of wanted to point out there, right? You talked about how Vercon wasn't really worried about potentially sacrificing some points by getting the progressions, right? Whether or not he was going to be able to get to the 7th and 8th progression where you kind of get the bonus points back there, right? Mm-hmm. But I think part of that shows, I think, confidence in your survivors, right? Like, hey, I don't need to get my max points as a killer because I already know that my survivors are going to be taking points away from their killer. So I'm already going to be up, per every 1-per-1 trial, or at least that's kind of what I kind of took away from the situation. How about you?
I disagree. I say it's because he knew. Look at the score here. Daddy Issues with 4, only completing 3 of the gens, right? They completed 3 gens. So I think that Vercon's going, I've already point starved these survivors. I can leave points on the table and we're still gonna have a pretty hefty lead. So I'm okay letting someone die and just being fine. And definitely when we had our first survivor in the basement, we saw that Daddy Issues was actually trying to play altruistically. They had 2 different people come to the shack, which, I mean, if you're the killer, you're going, okay, I've seen 2 survivors. I've hit one. I'm chasing the other. The other has run away and is not going for save. So, and then in fact got healed. So you're looking at that and going, okay, so by my calculations, unless there's a self-care, maybe nobody is on gen. Like, I've got 1 on hook, 1 in chase, 1 getting healed, and they might be getting healed by that other survivor. So nobody on gens. I'll take it all day.
Yeah, the one thing that was kind of tough though, I'm not sure if when the first survivor was coming over, if they weren't anticipating Vercon staying around the area. Maybe when they first kind of came in the area and heard a faint heartbeat, maybe thought it was more Vercon heading towards the main building in the house. And then when they moved in, because it was very, I felt like the first engagement was kind of almost in shack itself, or I shouldn't say the first engagement, but I should say the first engagement after the hook was really right next to shack, and it was only with 1 survivor. I feel like that's a free health state that unfortunately got given to the killer that kind of allowed Vercon to really start a whole bunch of pressure there in the early part of the game.
I would agree. Vercon was able to really make the most of that as well. So definitely good job to Corrupt to go ahead and score those early points, take pressure off of your survivors to a point. But hey, the pressure's not completely gone. Daddy Issues gets the kill 2 times in a row. before we will see Corrupt kill again. And as we know, killers can score more points than survivors. So this definitely is where you want your survivors still to perform well and not get 4K'd like we just saw.
Right, and I do think the big thing too, also, I for our killer here coming out, and I feel like we talk about this quite often in the competitive scene, but after you see a killer come out with a very dominant performance in trial number 1, I think the big thing here for you coming out as the killer in trial 2, man, I know you like want to come out and like, hey, you know what? You 4K'd at just 3 gens done. I can do it too, but sometimes that causes killers to overextend in some chases or maybe leave an extra slug that they shouldn't, which causes them to lose pressure instead of build pressure the way that they want. So I think the big thing right now for our killer is to make sure that they just kind of continue to, I think at least in trial 2, you kind of come in, you just kind of come in with your typical, whatever your game plan was before trial 1, you maintain that for trial 2.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would agree. And I think if you are daddy issues, you're feeling the pressure a little bit, but knowing you do have both your killer matches coming up, you're not necessarily super worried. I know this is also preseason, so you may not be super worried anyway, but nobody really wants to lose, let's be honest.
Right.
So for sure, I think that we will see them try to come out kind of pistols firing, you know? It might change your game plan a little bit. Like, no, we want a really strong showing here in the preseason. We want other teams to kind of worry about going against us. So we may see them bring somebody high tier out. It looks like we will have Pilot Snow be our killer here. So I am gonna go ahead and invite Keeper from Corrupt, and we'll go ahead and see who will survive for them. And who do you expect to see from Pilot here? I'm gonna flip the tables here. I know normally I make the prediction on who the killer's gonna be, who they're bringing, but I want to know who do you think they're bringing?
Well, you know, we're at this point like just under 3 weeks away from the DLC being removed from the shop, so I think that it's only fair that we get an ode to the demo dog. One thing I will say though, from experience working with these survivors here coming out for Corrupt, I would make sure that it is a killer that you feel confident in being able to spread your pressure onto the survivors, because they do a very good job with their communication, moving in, taking body blocks, trying to do the best they can to pull that aggro off of somebody who's maybe already got a hook or two. So I think you probably got to be coming in with some of your with a killer you're very confident with. So maybe if it's not a demo dog, maybe see like a more maybe see something like a Huntress, something where you have the ability to still cover some of your range.
Mm-hmm.
While still being able to also shut down chases relatively quick, especially if you're like very adept with a Huntress. You have less cooldown versus 2 M1s. So
yeah, and definitely for those that don't know, the survivors here that I'm seeing from Corrupt, that I've seen them on another team before. Q, you have as well, right?
I have, yeah. We're talking about the Runaways. They're a team that's kind of been in the DBD scene a little bit for some time here as a competitive team. We saw the experience from Vercon on the killer side. The trio there of Zaf, or Z, as some people know him as, Chungus and Vercon have a really good chemistry. Keeper, also kind of adding to that now here. And I feel like the four of them, I'm gonna be really interested to see how the four of them work as a unit here. So, man, I gotta say, it's not a team that loading in. I'm not sure it's somebody that I'd want to be bringing in a trial M1 killer, but at the same time, like it's preseason, you're on Crota Pen, like it's kind of the perfect time to bring a trial M1 killer and maybe bring the spicy stuff in game 3, depending on how game 2 goes.
Indeed, I think that's definitely very possible for us to see, and that excites me, honestly. I want to see an M1. I want to see somebody show me they can be competent with a not so used killer, especially in preseason. I think that could be exciting to not see like your meta killers, right?
Yeah, I think the other thing too is, especially if you can come out in preseason and like we saw yesterday on Batum, like come out with an Oni on Batum and have a really good showing, or come out with a clown and have a really good showing. Now all of a sudden, you're putting teams on notice of, hey, even if they have already used their meta killers once, like they are going to be confident either going with their meta killers because they can save those M1s for later, or they might bring out a M1 killer or a non-typical killer and they'll still be just as comfortable playing as them as they would be playing as a nurse or a spirit or a blight.
Indeed, yeah, I would agree. And I think when you're going into the season and playing in preseason, if you have that kind of pressure on other teams where they're like, really, we have to prepare for anyone, gives you a really good advantage. Right. Let's go ahead and review our survivor rules, though, real quick, and see how these survivors can continue to extend their lead. All right, guys. So our first and second gen are worth 1 point. Our third and fourth gen are worth 2 points, and our fifth gen is worth 3 points. First escape and second escape are 1 or 2 points, respectively. Third escape, 4 points. Fourth escape, 6 points. So we really want to get those 4 out. But if you escape with 2 or more, you get 2 points. Or if you escape with, yeah, that's right. No, 1 point each for getting that 4 out. And we're gonna go ahead and be ready to go in. Sorry there, guys. I went ahead and just jumbled all of my words. My lord.
So I'm interested. We're loading in here. We're getting ready for trial number 2. We've heard your take, but I feel like there's another person that we saw, or another thing we saw in your camera. I kind of want to get their opinion.
You're talking about my the head on my staff, the shrunken head on my staff.
Possibly.
Well, I could ask, like, who do you think we're gonna see, Mr. Shrunken Head? I haven't named him, of course. He says he thinks that we will see a demo dog, but let's actually load into the match and check. And we don't see a demo dog. I kind of expected this because I've seen Pilot Snow play before. This is a trapper, and Pilot Snow really loves their trapper quite much. Loves trying to take away those loops. And did somebody take out their trap already?
Yeah,
is that what we just heard?
Been like right behind him. Yeah, it's funny. You see, now we got a Pilot. It looks like was looking around. I thought maybe not.
Maybe not.
I'm gonna be interested to see, like, as Vigo's like regular season kicks in, seeing how I guess viable, or how much more viable the most recent kind of changes to Trapper have, what that means as far as like the average performance that we see because obviously everyone's going to play Trapper at some point, right? Or at least,
yeah, I
for
think,
the most part they're going to. So now I'm interested to see what he looks like.
Yeah, and I think we have a roster of 26 killers right now. Is that right?
I
think that's the right
track
number.
after I can't count on my fingers. So
yeah, I understand. I mean, yeah, I do that too. But yeah, I think it's 26, and there's 12 weeks of Vigos, which means that we will see potentially 24 different killers. And so for sure, I would expect somebody's going to use Trapper at some point.
Yeah, I would think maybe whenever Trapper does happen to come into use later in the season, maybe more so. I think we have a team on, I think it's Grim Pantry or Pale Rose. I think it's Grim Pantry. Would be a fun map, and of course, some of your. I think we have one of the Yamaoka maps up as well, but we do see a first gen coming in across the way, and we haven't been able to secure a hook here yet. Now, of course, this is kind of one of the struggles, typically that we do see of a trapper as far as at least in the early game. One, you've got to set up. Two, you've also got to deal with all these meddling kids playing with your traps as well. We do see a hit coming on over to Vercon here, though, so we do see a chase onto Vercon. We now have Vercon and Keepers. We have 2 injured survivors, but we do see here Chungus moving in for the body block, kind of like we were talking about heading into the trial, right? This team does a very good job communicating across and helping spread that pressure.
Yeah, indeed. And I think we're going to see Chungus probably reset here. Saw you had a med kit. And if Vercon can keep this chase, which Vercon's a very competent looper, then we may see Chungus come back for another body block, which how spicy would that be?
Yeah, that'd be spicy. We do see the reset on there. Oh, gets done stupid. Plus 10 wood to the face. Doing really good job to not only drop the pallet to build distance, but also dropping it and making sure you get the stun there. We also see generator number 2 getting done across the way. It does look like it was actually LoopCon and not BotCon that showed up today. Vercon doing a really good job along the loops here. And now it's Pilots actually breaking away from Chase. Coming over here, we do locate 2 survivors, but unfortunately, they are both healthy.
Indeed. Yeah, and those survivors are going to split as they should, not stay grouped up. And really, we're seeing some high-tier survivor play right now, going ahead and pressuring multiple gens as we see another gen pop off in the distance. And that gen was a good distance away from that first gen. So we're seeing really good gen pressure from these survivors, and they're taking out the traps, not walking into them, being very observant, immersed in fact. And so definitely you love to see it from the survivor side.
Yeah, I think the big thing you're seeing here is you're probably noticing a lot of communication, especially when they're running. If they happen to see where traps are, calling those out there, so their teammates are kind of able to loop around or rotate around, be able to disable those. We now see a heal coming into Vercon across the way, so now we have almost a completely reset lobby. And again, we have yet to see a hook here. Got to be feeling the pressure right now if you're Pilot, right? Because you've been seeing the generators going at a pretty good rate. And when we look around here, you don't have very much of a 3-gen, maybe one between the one that you just kicked, that one that we were just looking at there, and then the one in top mid. But that one in top mid's pretty tough to defend just on its own.
Yeah, definitely. And our survivors here are like we said earlier, they're not really running into those traps. And so looking at the web that is kind of laid down, if you're Trapper, you're a little worried here just about how these survivors are kind of staying away from it. You might want to split it up and try to catch more survivors off guard, maybe use the grass more to your advantage here.
Yeah, I think part of the other issue too is because our survivor team has done a very good job of communicating where those traps are. You'll actually notice that there are quite a few traps that are set up now kind of on the portions of the map where we have generators completed, right? So now Pilot's kind of stuck in this very awkward scenario of, well, do I go over and get those traps so I can at least play into my power more, or do I just simply put pressure onto my gens? Because we do see here that Pilots now has a decent 3-gen setup. We do see the hit coming in onto Zaf here as well. But again, right now you've got to be really trying to see if maybe you can force a little bit of a snowball thanks to the 3-gen situation that you've been able to play yourself into.
Yeah, but definitely, did you notice that was Deadlock that had actually gone off? And both these gens are very well progressed, and knowing that these gens are that well progressed, it really puts a lot of pressure onto you as a killer. So I don't know. And we do see the sprint burst, but we're going to continue chase here. Knowing what percentage the other gen is at, that kind of worries me, honestly.
Yeah, but I mean, at this point, like, what else are you gonna do? Just basically go back and forth, knowing that you have 4 survivors that can split up pressure amongst 2 gens. I mean, you kind of have to try and hope you can get it. You kind of had to hope you can get the Chungus tracked down there quick and get a quick down, and especially because Chungus is the one that was holding the med kit. Instead, we see the hit coming in. We broke across to come over here and check in on your gens, and you've already got a reset on Chungus. Not sure if that was a self heal thanks to the med kit that Chungus came in the trial with, or thanks to a heal from a teammate, but we see a 5th gen getting done, and we could be looking at all 4 survivors getting out at this point. That's insane.
It definitely is. And did you notice Corrupt Keeper went ahead and just snuck right behind our Trapper there, going right down the stairs. Trapper going ahead and swinging once he realized on the headphones, wait a minute, that was a survivor. But definitely already out of the way to where you can go ahead and kiss the survivor goodbye, right?
Yeah, and they did a good job. They made sure they had somebody on a door as soon as the generator was ready to go. And you see all 4 survivors walking out the front door. Talk about dominant performance here by Corrupt.
Definitely. And unfortunately for our killer there, that was 0 hooks on our killer side, which does mean that Daddy Issues did not score a point that trial. We are looking at a score of 52-4 right now on Corrupt's side. So really dominant performance so far by Corrupt.
Yeah, I think we saw, Corrupt was able to come in and just establish themselves a little bit of momentum early. We saw their communication coming in there a couple times with people moving in for the body blocks. And, especially there when we saw Chungus a couple times coming in for the body blocks. And I'm not sure if they ended up using Zaf's built to last more on the toolbox that Zaf came in with, or maybe the med kit, because it did seem like Chungus was able to get quite a few heals. And again, I wasn't sure if that was strictly off of the self heal with the med kit, or if maybe we saw a little bit of built to last use there, especially because built to last got a nice little buff here recently. So
it really did.
Wouldn't be surprised to see them kind of using that, especially because now you get multiple recharges. So now you kind of have that option of, okay, well, we're early game, we're looking good, let me go ahead and refill my toolbox, right? And then you get in the mid game and you've depleted your med kit, so let me go ahead and take put my med kits maybe at Shack or somewhere in middle building, so Zaf can pick it up and replenish it at that point. And especially being on that map, there's tons of lockers all around the map. So I think we probably saw just even the small things like that going to work, right? Like not just hitting the gens right, but like even using things like that to their advantage, I would imagine probably helped contribute to that very very dominant performance by Corrupt there last trial.
Yeah, definitely. And that's honestly, the performance by Corrupt there to go ahead and really kind of take the trial into their hands here. I think we're gonna see we may see Pilot kill again here. I wonder if that prompts the S tier, like, okay, you've kind of put us in a situation where it looks like we're getting beat pretty bad. We need to come out here and really perform well, bring this back within our grasp. We may see
you think like a nurse probably would be most likely
yeah, that's
to come
what I
out?
was gonna say definitely with main building the way it is, I think we see a nurse here.
Yeah, because I do think, we kind of talked about it a little bit, like heading into the actual matchup. When we talk about S tier killers, kind of like the typical like meta killers, I think a lot of teams are still kind of trying to figure out, one, how do I play Spirit now that she has some counterplay, as well as how do I work around those counterplays, and then Blight kind of works around that middle building. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a nurse coming out.
Indeed. And you know what, I'm gonna nominate a high five.
We're nominating a high five.
Yeah, I'm nominating a high five. Get excited, get hyped. All right, are we ready?
I like it.
Are we ready?
Ready. Yeah,
right.
boy.
1, 2, 3.
Hey, let's go.
That was a pretty good high five. That was a pretty good high five right there.
Like
I could
Dropping
really
it like
feel
it's
it
hot.
on my hand, I could feel it. I could feel the entire high
Well,
five.
let's not get too weird.
All right, you're right. But it's me though. Like, I mean, I don't know. I'll try.
I mean, that's
Okay,
fair.
I'll try for you.
That's fair.
I'll try for you.
So you got to imagine here, right? So for Corrupt, do you think now is the time that heading into trial 3, do you try something spicy as a survivor? Maybe you have a new perk combo you want to work on, or maybe you want to try having somebody be more of like, maybe have somebody who's not your typical like aggro holder kind of try that rollout more here. Do you think you just kind of come in and run trial number 3 as if it was the first trial of your matchup here, since it's preseason?
I think you go ahead and you try some experiments. I think you go ahead and you bring a build that you haven't used before. You bring perks that maybe you don't normally see in comp, but you're trying to see if you can get use out of them. I mean, I think it'd be kind of funny, kind of cool to see somebody bring a flashbang and try to see if they can make use out of that with Built to Last, Built to Last flashbang. Go ahead, give yourself more and more and more items. You're already going to be in a locker for 12 seconds and you're going to be on gens. Maybe. You're making a face at me.
But you have your hands have to be empty.
Oh shoot. So sometimes I'm smooth brain, and here's what we're doing, people. Smooth brain Vader in the fog. All right. Hey, so let's just forget that happened. Nobody clipped that, because definitely I wasn't thinking. All right. Every once in a while you'll catch me doing that.
It happens.
Oh my lord. Guys, it does look like we are about to load in though. So we will probably be reviewing some of these ban rules real quick. And let's go. I'm gonna wait and see these offerings. I want to see that cut coin. Oh, that cut coin. It's purple. It's so beautiful. All right. So let's review those ban rules real quick. All right. So guys, survivors can only have one perk and one item, or like one of each perk, one of each item. There are banned perks in here for killers and survivors. Haunted Ground, Starstruck, Prove Thyself, all banned, so you won't see them here in this league. So definitely our killers can breathe easy not having a Prove Thyself. Gens already fly off the shelves. And so there's only one of each character on the survivor side. Any violation is subject to penalties, and during the normal league you will see a killer only be able to be used one time. All right. And so Q, I know we already kind of talked about it, but I'm thinking nurse here. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think, especially because you would like to at least maybe be able to potentially give your survivors a chance to have some sort of win condition for a trial number 4. I think the big thing is here, you come out with whoever your most comfortable killer is. So maybe it's a nurse, maybe, who knows? Maybe it's some, like Freddy main who feel like that they can come out and have like an incredible Freddy game on Crotus Pen, and that maybe that's the case too, or a Huntress. But I think here, since it is preseason, you would like to you would like to make trial 4 be a trial that like means something. So I think you come out with your best shot here. That way you can still give your survivors a good feel of competitive game for trial number 4. Ooh.
Indeed. And let's go ahead and go in, because we have now loaded into the match, guys. And we're seeing a Wraith. Interesting. I actually like the play, especially on this map. We could see Wraith do very well. So let's go ahead and see how Pilot Snow takes this Wraith and see if we can put a lot of pressure on these survivors.
Now, if I had to guess, though, Pilot Snow is probably really hoping that the other team did not bring a flashbang, if that's the case, or Built to Last on a flashlight, right? Obviously, being able to have that ability to knock the Wraith out of the stealth ability obviously caused the stun there as well. I think also going to be the interesting thing here, I always like watching Wraiths play, because sometimes you'll see some Wraiths kind of go for that stereotypical like old school like hit and run build, Although I would say that maybe it's not quite as strong as it once was. Although obviously with I would say the buff that the Wraith recently got, although they did also recently get like a very, very small nerf. I think it was last week or the week before. But Wraith in a very good spot. So not surprised to see a killer like Pilot coming out here at this point and trying to see what the Wraith can do on the comp scene, right?
Yeah, I would agree. And kind of interesting seeing our killer drop Chase there. I thought that was definitely going to be a hit on Vercon there, but we see our killer go ahead and decide, nope, I'm gonna go pressure some other survivors right now and see what I can get done.
And we do see, coming in here onto this gen that is going to be a gen that's got a lot of progress here. We've interrupted, I think, this Claudette twice now, and I think the Claudette the first time had some help there. We do see, that fourth piston starting to go quite a bit. That is going to be a dry kick though, right? So nothing to help as far as regression. We don't have any extra, like say like a ruin that regressing at 200% or anything. So that thing's got, I mean, at this point, I think if you're pilots, you got to almost surrender that gen and just try and start getting some downs here.
Yeah, I agree, and we don't know if they have pop or anything else that'll help with regression there. But I think you have to get it down. And the way these survivors are playing, you notice Claudette left, healed, came back to the same gen. So I think you're gonna have to commit Chase. We do see another dry kick here. Claudette's gonna go ahead and look to take Chase, but Wraith isn't giving Chase, and I think the non-committal there is really going to give the survivors a really good chance to pressure these gens out, make sure that they don't have any downs, and we could see another no hook if our Wraith is not careful.
Yeah, I mean, I especially against a team like this who has already kind of shown an ability to really be able to communicate in trial number 2, right? Like, that's the only way you get 0 hooks, 1 hooks, 2 hooks even. Maybe not 2 hooks against the particular killers, depending on what your map selection potentially could be looking at. But, what we saw from Corrupt last trial lets you know that you're going against a team here that has a lot of good communication. So seeing Pilot playing in this very non-committal, right? Like, very much the hit and run sort of style. We do see here this generator, that thing's knocking like a Ford in the middle of December. That thing's just about ready to go. And at this point here, unfortunately, you don't have much of a 3 gen that you can really even defend here.
No, and we do see that even when our Wraith went up to the main building there, that gen was again, like you said, knocking in like a Ford in the middle of December. I really love that analogy, by the way. But there are multiple gens when we only need 2 gens to pop here that are really close to popping. So a lot of pressure on, and once again, we still haven't seen a hook from our killer here. So these survivors are doing a good job of making sure that they are in the best position to get that 4 out. We do see main building also pop off now.
Yeah, I was actually going to say, we had only seen in the last like 90, 120 seconds, we had only seen Vercon and Zaf over here. So really wouldn't be surprised if they are splitting that pressure on 2 separate gens. Instead, we see that it is indeed this generator over here that does get complete. And we now have 5 gens done. Now it's about trying to really just secure at least a hook, try and get yourself to elimination. Keep in mind, of course, the 4th escape for a team being the one that gets them the most point, right? So even being able to get just 1 elimination here really kind of turns point difference in your favor, especially at this point in the trial, right?
Yeah, indeed. And we did see survivors try to go ahead and burn our Wraith there. Didn't quite work out as Wraith kept distance good enough there, but we are seeing our survivor running shot quite well. Hopefully our Wraith cloaking, so we're not going to be able to get that hit. That's a free vault for our survivor.
Yeah, and I don't think you're going to be able to make it back to you're not going to be able to get back around his head here. You go for the hit onto Chungus. Chungus does have that med kit there. We see Vercon also moving in for the body block here. Not sure if they've also got this door on the back side here as far as unlocked. But you talked about it. Zaf doing a very, very good job running Shack here. Not sure if we're possibly seeing even a little bit of a shift tech going on there in the middle of the gen. Oh, that's huge. You actually see
Oh.
you've got the Wraith on the inside of the Shack here. Not only did you get stunned by the pallet, but now you had to break the pallet as well. Even with going into the cloak speed there, I don't think.
Oh,
with
no.
the firecracker as well, and that's going to be another 4 escape without a single hook state. Corrupt coming out and showing what it's all about, showing that they are here to play today.
Indeed. What a showing from their survivors here to go ahead and really put the pressure down and get the win here. Definitely with daddy issues, again, getting no hooks here, that does seal the deal. Corrupt will be convicted of murder here. So that is very strong from Corrupt here to go ahead and end the match after 3 trials instead of having to go to a 4th.
Yeah, you came out with a nice strong doctor showing. You showed a killer that I think a lot of people wouldn't consider not only not meta, but I don't think a lot of people would consider doctor to be in that like next 3 after the top 3. So you're kind of showing a very kind of your more mid-tier killer and still had a very strong performance. And then to have back-to-back perfect games
Indeed.
on the survivor side. Gotta be feeling good about yourself heading the season, and it's the regular season on that case, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think if you are Corrupt, you're feeling great. If you have Corrupt on your schedule, you're going, okay, we need to be prepared. Definitely if your daddy issues, you're going, okay, we definitely need to practice hard, be ready for when League comes out. This is our time to really like get our feet under us and be ready to go. But at the same time, maybe daddy issues isn't showing us everything they've got. Maybe because it's preseason, we're not seeing the strongest of daddy issues on purpose. Maybe it's a bait and switch.
I mean, you could be talking about a fair point here. We didn't see Noed come into play either round, I don't think, for the killer. And now that I think about it, I'm not sure if we had Ruin in trial number
We didn't.
1 for them. So we didn't see Ruin or Noed. And usually you typically kind of see, in the competitive scene, you kind of typically see one or the other, if not both, right? Like sometimes you might see only Ruin instead of Ruin Undying and then still see a Noed at the end, or you see no Ruin and then there's Noed at the end. This time instead you saw neither in either trial.
Yeah, we didn't see Ruin, we didn't see Noed, we didn't see a Corrupt intervention on daddy issues end either. So I think there was a little bit of experimentation going on, probably on purpose, trying to go ahead and
I liked the idea of their build on the Wraith, to be fair. I'm not sure how close attention you paid as far as like what they're trying to go for there with as far as the combo with the knockout and the Thana.
yeah.
I like where the head was at, but against a team like Corrupt here, I mean, we saw their survivors. Really put up 2 very, 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 very dominant performances. However, I got a question for you, Vader.
Shoot, I'm ready.
Can you help but wonder, or what would be your thought process if you're sitting and you're one of these other teams that's in the league and you've now seen Corrupt and have this performance? Now you almost like circle the date on the calendar and make sure that you've got your meta killers available for that, right?
I think you do. I think definitely them 6 and with Arctic Wolves as well. You're circling all of those and going, we need our meta killers available for these teams. They are very strong on survivor side. And then on the other side, you're trying to make sure that your survivors are the most prepared, because it could be very easy to see their killers perform well as well. Like all 3 of those teams have shown that they can kill just as good as they can survive.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's a very good point. You know, all the teams have, although I would say that they're, actually, you know what? I don't even know if I can say that their survivor side has done more of like the load work. 'Cause I do feel like it's probably been equally shared amongst a couple of those teams, even like we saw today, right? Like Vercon had the 4K, and then you had the 2 perfect games on the survivor side. So, speaking of Vercon getting the 4K there early, it does look like we have been joined actually.
Ooh, we're going
by
to the
Vercon here.
interrogation
They're
room
going to
with
the
a
interrogation
Vercon?
room. Yeah, get excited.
Interesting. I love it. Vercon, go ahead. I want to hear your beautiful voice. Let me hear it. Let me hear it. Maybe. Hey, Q, you try asking because you didn't listen to me, okay?
Oh, he never listens to me. I'm the last person he's going to listen to be honest with you. No, Vercon, though, I did want to, I'm not sure, maybe you're trying to figure out, make sure you're not on like push to talk or something, but I want to, I want to pick your brain a little bit. And I want to see what your thought process was coming out with the doctor to start off the matchup today.
It looks like, from what I can see, Vercon is muted a little bit there. So I'm trying to figure out if that's
such an amazing question that he's taking time to make sure he's got a good answer for us. You know,
right.
Muted me. Okay, there you go. Now.
Vercon, I've got
Okay,
you.
now.
I've got you. It looks like you had the server mute on, but I've got you. You are now unmuted, my friend.
There we go. Okay. So
what's up, Vercon?
Not so much. How about you?
Oh man, living the dream. I feel like it's been so long since I've heard your voice.
Yeah.
So I wanted to know, what was the thought process coming out? We saw you opt to not go with like one of the meta 3 killers, right? Instead, you come out with the doctor. Walk us through the thought process of like that being the landing point of your first match, our first trial to start the matchup here.
The thought process behind why I chose Doctor over everything else, it's because Doctor is one of the very few killers that can defend our hook properly, better than any other killer besides Bubba. And I figured if I just run Discipline with him and just keep, circling those hooks and keep a 3-gen with him while constantly putting people into Madness 3, they can't do nothing. And if I had Ruin still up, that means that not only do they have to get out of tier 3, but now the gen's regression.
But of course, in true Vercon fashion, I believe they broke your Ruin and it was like 15 seconds, right?
Yeah.
Record time. I mean, like it is. And you said in true Vercon fashion, I've got to second that. Every time I've seen you play Vercon, it seems like the survivors spawn on top of the totem, like, ooh, shiny thing. It's crazy.
That's on my luck, don't worry. That's why I adapted.
And I gotta say, I really enjoyed seeing the work of your guys' survivor team on both sides there. I know, obviously, the 3 of you, between you, Chungus, Zav, have got a little bit of history, but tell me what it's like adding like the 4th piece there, right? You've kind of got yourself a new survivor. It seems like Keeper's really kind of blending in well with the team. Do you feel like that's the missing piece to take you guys to the promised land?
I feel as though we're gonna make it. He is actually a good player. He just doesn't know it, but he's a good player.
So you're still working on the confidence, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, we gotta work on the confidence.
I would say I have to agree with that. Little known fact, Keeper tried out for We Overslept, and again, didn't have that confidence piece. And definitely, Keeper, have it. You performed great today. And Vercon, I mean, do you have any words for Keeper here you want to say in front of everybody?
Keeper's an amazing friend and an amazing person to hang with. And, still Puppbot, though.
Yeah, Puppbot. not as big as a Puppbot as Zaf, though.
Yeah, that's you.
I do gotta say though, I would imagine that the spirits were probably pretty high over on your guys' time. It seemed like, especially like between the three of you, especially again, I know that there a lot of history between you, Zap, and Chungus. It does definitely seem like you guys are performing at your best when you're having like, regardless of the results, like y'all are having fun, and it seemed like that was kind of just going on for you guys. Everything just seemed to be clicking today.
Oh yeah, we always try to keep our heads high and make sure that no one's down on the ground when you try to play, because you don't want to have bad morale while playing.
Right.
You always want to keep your comms clear and make sure that you guys know how each other can communicate and play.
Right.
I would
I
have
like
to
it.
agree. I like it a lot. Definitely with a performance like that in the preseason, having not played in the qualifiers, is that kind of a statement to the other teams? Like, hey, worry about us because we are planning to go all the way.
I mean, practice makes perfect in general. It's what we've been doing off the screen time, you know. But since, you know, we didn't do all that qualifiers, I'd say, yeah, worry about us.
I like it. I like it. I like it too because it's like it's nonchalant and like it's not overly. It's definitely more along the lines of confident versus the cockiness, and that's what you like to see, right, Vader?
Indeed. I'd love to see it. Definitely, there are. You've seen it from times, right? You see the team that's coming in like, oh, 100%. You need to worry about us because y'all ain't got no chance. But this is more like, hey, we didn't get the practice. Y'all played qualifiers already. We had to show that we could hang with the big boys. Y'all already showed you could hang. It's our
Right.
turn to prove ourselves. This is the proving ground, and we proved it. I love that energy. It's so good.
So, is there anything that you feel like after today's performance? Is there stuff that you feel like you can probably at least take away and work on before regular season? Or is there anything that you want to, anything that you feel like you can at least give us some juice? What are some things you want to? We want to see see Team Corrupt do better the next time they come out.
Well, we have to prepare ourselves for the next map, which of course we need to know the clock system.
Right.
Big bullies to everyone. Communication is always going to be key on that factor, and just, you know, staying calm and working under pressure.
I like it. Well, any more questions you've got here, Judge?
You know, I think that I am all out of questions today, my friend. I am all out of questions. Vercon, thank you for joining us today for the interview. Are there any final things you want to say to your fans out there? The fans of Corrupt, the fans of Vigo's Court?
We won't let you down, boys and girls. We will never let you down. If we do, blame Zaf.
Blame Zap. Oh, Zap is under the bus right now. I don't know if it's fun bus or not, but definitely under the bus. If any of you make a trip to Auto Haven Records, please pour one out for Zap under the bus. All right.
I like it. I like it.
All right, guys. With that, court is adjourned. We are gonna go ahead and actually, before we do, hold on. Before we do, Counselor Q, if people want to find your stream and come join you, where can they find you?
You can find me pretty much anywhere you can think of. Social medias, Twitch, YouTube, at YoBoyQ, YoBoyCUE. Actually, we just we're starting on a new series over on YouTube. That's pretty fun. So I would probably say there, check out, and then, you know, come hang out over on Twitch sometime. Say what's up. Also, before we let people go, figure it'd be good to let people know that this is not the end of Vigos for the weekend. We will have a matchup tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern time. You can come hang out with myself as well as Judge Rambo. And then we've got a couple games on Saturday too. So
Indeed. We have 4 games on Saturday. And guys, I'll be joining you for all 4 of them on Saturday. So you'll get to look at I may not be wearing the mask, but you'll get to look at me for a long time on Saturday. So definitely come join. All right. And
Yeah, and I'll be
definitely
here on the back end on Saturday.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will. I'm excited. We've got a really good slate of games on Saturday. Guys, if you want to be able to check me out as well, you can find my link in the chat or put !Vader. I'm also a streamer on Twitch, just like Q here, just like your boy Q. Play a lot of Dead by Daylight, and we love having fun. We like playing with viewers, so definitely come check us out. Come join the family. We are going to go ahead and adjourn and raid out here, though. And let me check and see. We are going to raid Little Rugard here. Let me make sure he's online, actually, before I say that. Hold on. I said that, and then I had to check. So hold on.
But yeah, chat, if we don't catch y'all here tomorrow, or if we don't catch y'all here on Saturday, y'all have yourselves a very fantastic weekend, all right? And don't forget, with everything crazy going on in the world today, be true, be you, be sincere, game hard and love harder, all right? We ready
Dude.
for this raid here?
I just have to, like, real quick. I am ready for the raid, but I gotta go ahead and say that was an amazing motivational speech. You ever thought about being a motivational speaker?
Thought about it.
Okay. Well, hey, you be you, and you should do that 100%. You're better than Shia LaBeouf. Better than Shia LaBeouf in my book. All right.
Do it!
Just do it.
Hey, I want you to know also that little guy agrees with you too. All right. He agrees.
Ooh.
You need to be a motivational speaker. You've convinced him to get a body. All right. To go get a whole body. A whole
I
body.
ain't got nobody.
As soon
I
as
ain't got
Dwight,
nobody.
as soon as Q gets out of that locker.
True though, true. I got the Dwight look. Facts though. I do be in lockers doing Dwight things.
All right, guys. That's all from us. Court is adjourned.
Peace.